Welcome to Break for Art. My name is Jessie Carrillo, Manager of Adult Programs with the Dallas Museum of Art. Today we are going to spend some time with this cigar humidor from the museum's American Silver collection made by Tiffany and Company and artist Robert Francis Hunter in 1889. Take a moment to make this video full screen so you can have an immersive experience with this work of art. We will begin by just looking at this frontal view. Pause for as long as you need, and then click play to learn more. And as you're looking, imagine the weight of this humidor in your hands. Think about what it would feel like to run your fingers over the different parts of this object. Think about what type of room this object might have been situated in. And imagine its owner carrying it with his belongings on a transatlantic crossing. This cigar humidor was a gift from American financier August Belmont to Lionel Walter Rothschild on the occasion of his graduation from Cambridge. Tiffany and Company spent $511 to complete this commission, suggesting that the retail cost to Belmont was over $1,000, a huge sum of money in 1889. To give you some perspective, cigar makers working in New York at this time would have made between 83 cents and $3 per day. I think we can see from this object that August Belmont was not exactly following the adage, "It's the thought that counts." In this frontal view, we see an energetic scene of hunters chasing down bison at sunrise or sunset. The panel is framed by ornamentation of sporting equipment and foliage. The lid is crowned with an American bison that looks as though it is preparing to charge. At the time this was made, the American silver industry was booming, in part because of Western silver mines. While companies like Tiffany produced a wide range of styles inspired by their cultures thought to be exotic, this object is all about celebrating American identity, nature, and hobbies. On the lid, we see scenes of people playing lacrosse and baseball, tobogganing, and bronco busting. On the sides, we see duck hunting, skating, and ice boat racing. And on the back is a scene of trotting horse racing. All of these were favorite pursuits of outdoorsy Americans in the 19th century. Let's look at these other scenes in a little more detail. Here are the scenes etched into the lid of the humidor. And what I'm showing you here are Robert Francis Hunter's original sketches, which are also in the DMA's collection. Here's one of the side scenes. And the other. And here's that horse racing vignette on the back of the humidor. And here we also see Robert Francis Hunter's signature as well as the year 1889. Let's return to this front panel of the bison hunt. Just a year after this was made, the census declared the West settled. By this time, American bison populations had been decimated to the point of near extinction by overhunting, and indigenous populations had been forcibly relocated over the past century. I mention this because this panel really stands apart from all of the kind of leisure scenes on the rest of the humidor. While every panel represents an idealized view of American identity, this panel in particular connects American identity to a kind of mythical and nostalgic vision of the American West as a beautiful and wild frontier inhabited by an archetypal noble savage. Looking at the extreme detail of this object, it's kind of hard to believe it was handcrafted. Let's look at how each of the sections were made. The bison on the lid was created by casting, which involves pouring molten metal into a mold. Notice the detail of the animal's fur, its swinging tail, and the stretched tendon of its back leg, capturing the tension in its muscles as it takes this aggressive charging stance. The details along the edges, including this sporting equipment that we see here, which is featured at each corner of the humidor, are made by chasing. Think of it as using small tools to push the silver around to create raised designs, as opposed to carving, which would involve removing material to create raised designs. Notice how these sculptural forms catch light and shadow, giving this object an incredible tonal range. I'm particularly drawn to the feet of this humidor, which recall bison hooves. And of course, here's an area that I find most captivating, these sporting scenes that we've already looked at. Look at the handmade quality of this hunting scene. Do you see how it looks kind of like a sketch in the metal? Artists like Hunter used etching, a chemical process, to recreate their sketches in the silver. This process allows for more delicate mark making and shading. I love this particular vignette, which is the keyhole of the humidor. I love the contrast of these delicate handmade marks against the rigid chased form of the keyhole. You really see the hand of the artist here. While more austere than the exterior, the interior of this humidor is finished with etched compartments for cigars and cigarettes, and a dedication on the inside of the lid. And you can visit the DMA's online collection to see detailed shots of the inside. So what's your favorite detail? I hope you've enjoyed this closer look at Tiffany and Company's humidor. Visit the online collection to learn more and explore other American silver objects. We look forward to seeing you soon at the DMA.